Hi, hello, I'm Jen. Welcome to my first YouTube video ever. I hope you all are having a good time and you can either put this in the background, draw along with me, listen to it, whatever you like to do with these sorts of videos. So today I've got a 90 pack of acrylic marker brush tips from arrtx. I got them recently and I've been really wanting these for such a long time that I did sit down and record this video and started a YouTube video out of it. The whole channel actually. So I think that's, a new start for me. So if you want to come along on that journey with me, feel free to stick around. I've also put some links in the description for everything I use, everything I can think of anyway. It is an Australian link, so you will have to look up arrtx manually if you aren't located in Australia. The first thing that I do get around to trying is Derpy from the K-pop Demon Hunters. As of filming this video, that's still a pretty recent thing that's only come out in the last 2 or so months. And I'm not very confident in my ability to do Ginu any kind of justice, so that's why I picked to do the tiger instead. I also left out the little bird guy because I wasn't particularly confident in my ability to do him justice with the size of the nibs. This is also my second time of doing the first half of this recording because I am pretty awkward and shaky, but that was too awkward and shaky, so I won't subject you guys to that. And, I'm still getting the hang of editing, voiceovers, making cuts, filming, all of those sorts of things. Getting back onto the topic of K-pop Demon Hunters, I am almost blown away with the amount of artwork people have pumped out after that released, because that's crazy. Just even a week after it came out, the amount of incredible artworks that people were producing was just mind-blowing. It was also just incredibly inspiring because, who doesn't want to draw attractive people with demon lines on them? Going back quickly to the acrylic markers themselves, one of the big things that I did notice when using them is that they dry down a bit of a different colour than the cap colour or when they initially go down. So if you are picking out the colours for a piece with these, I would suggest that you use a swatching page instead of the markers themselves. This wasn't the first attempt at using the markers. I did go back into a couple of my old sketchbooks which had some portrait sketches that I intended to fill with gouache but never did because I procrastinate and overthink. So I went back later and just redid them quickly with the markers, and it taught me kind of how to use them, how the brush nib interacts with the paper. Speaking of which, they don't bleed through at all because they are water-based, not alcohol-based. So as long as you have semi-decent quality paper, it's not a worry at all. I was concerned that they would rip up the paper as well, like Posca pens do, but I didn't have to deal with any of that. Overall, these are actually really enjoyable art supplies to work with. And the reason I'm going on about them so much is because when I swap the voiceover back to the one that I recorded before this, I think I talk about the actual art supplies maybe 20%. The rest of it is just random rambling about stuff. But I personally really like watching YouTube videos, drawers with me, that are just rambling, because I can draw and I can look up at the screen every now and then and I will be able to see what's happening, and just enjoyable way for me to spend my time. This has low-key made me a little bit insecure about how I draw. I was not aware that I readjusted my pen grip so incessantly. It's just, I have no words. I must be because I'm trying to preserve the tip or something subconsciously and I don't want to accidentally bend it. in a way and ruin it, but it would be really hard to do that considering, you know, it's supposed to bend, it's a brush nib. So that is one of the quirky things about me that I have recently learnt, and now you guys have to know as well when you watch me draw. Sorry if you can never unsee that. Jumping topics. I do get a little bit all over the place when it comes to talking and conversing and stuff, because I do have very rampant ADHD and I forget things on such a regular basis that it's just kind of my norm. I must walk into a room and go, what was I here for? At least 8 times a day. And before I knew I had ADHD, that was incredibly frustrating. But these days I can be kind to myself and be like, well, if it was really important, I'm sure it'll make itself known. Spoiler alert, usually it is important. I also got a second set after the 90 pack, which for some reason, there must be an earlier release for RTX, so they don't have the numbers on the back, like on the opposite side of the nib, the opposite side of the cap, the end, that's the word. So I had to manually write in a permanent marker on the back of those ones because it's easier to spot which ones I was using. Doing Derpy's eyes right now, and let me tell you, I have not managed to capture the vacant kind of weird expression that he has in the movie. I've just not done that justice. I also have not done his chest justice. He has a bit more of a neck. If I put the reference photo back up again, I have absolutely squandered that. I am incredibly bad at maths. I have spent all of my life putting all of my points into creativity and that sort of thing. I don't even think it would, if I was in like a life or death situation, if I could remember anything that I was taught in high school, I would just be stuffed. But at least I can draw sometimes. We can go on to the portrait. This was actually really fun to do, but the worst part about this was after filming it, trying to get it off of my iPhone onto a Windows computer. I am not kidding when I say that took me a week of trial and error, and I tried to do it free. I didn't want to pay for any external apps or buy more iCloud storage. Spoiler alert, I bought more iCloud storage. But I genuinely could not find a way to get something that was an hour and a half long onto the computer without, I don't know, basically breaking the internet. Apparently this is an impossible task. And I tried every single way possible. You would think you would just be able to plug your phone in and, you know, find the files manually with a cord like a normal person, but for some reason Apple hides large files and stuff, and it just wasn't in the same location on the computer that it was in my phone, and I couldn't even sort by size and find it, which was incredibly weird. To be fair, I am not a specialized computer techie savvy person. I mean, I'm only 24, so I am pretty savvy with computers, you know, as much as my generation is, but I don't know all the ins and outs of how everything works, etc., etc. Anyway, back to portrait. This was actually really fun to do. I like it afterwards if I don't look at the reference photo too much, because the reference photo and what I produced were a little bit too different. But that's okay. I really don't enjoy trying to exactly copy stuff anyway. I like to add my own twist. Whether or not that's because I can't or because I just prefer to have more freedom, I'm not sure. It might be that, to be honest, I think I just don't enjoy trying to exactly copy things because it feels too restricting. Oh, and after I managed to get the video onto the computer, I found out that Apple saves video files into a weird format that was not compatible with DaVinci. Spoiler alert, that just started a whole new set of problems. And I might have gotten so confused and frustrated that I had to put the whole project aside for a day or two to be like, whoo, it's alright, it's okay, everything's fine, nothing's burning down. But eventually, we're here, and now my only barrier is recording some kind of voiceover that is at least somewhat entertaining. Yeah, history about myself. Right, being entertaining. Right, okay. What's entertaining about me? I do a lot of art. Yes. I have a TikTok and an Instagram. They're both very small right now. I mean, small in, like, I am very thankful for the people that follow that. I would never call that small because, like, one of the most famous things that I remember over the years is somebody saying, 10 or 20 likes might be really little, but if you were standing in a room right now and, you had your gallery on and then 20 people walked through the door, you'd be completely overwhelmed. And I agree. Like, if I put that into perspective, I am completely overwhelmed by the amount of social media engagement that I get, because that's crazy to think about 20 people looking at your art in front of you. I might just pass away, actually. Other interesting things about me. I have 2 cats. I have 2 ginger cats. 2 female ginger cats, which, if you don't know, is actually quite rare. They are not found very commonly because something about the genetic code of gingers making it hard to produce female chromosomes, something. Look, again, I put all of my stat points into artistry and creativity and none of it into the science, maths, or STEM of anything. So, look, here, you got me here recording this for you guys instead. I'm not very good at blending with these brush tips yet, but I think it's not a very easy medium to work with when it comes to blending. And I'm also scared of ruining the nib tips, the tip of the nibs, because that would suck, and I didn't want to do that. I also got a second set that were, oh gosh, how much were the second set? Where is the second set? Alright, this is, I got a 36 color set. Very exciting, I know. Like, you can't see that right now, but I got the 36 set as well, and that has about 15 to 20 other colors that the 90 pack doesn't have, and it's actually much easier to transport the 36 set because it's not a huge block that is, the size of my head. I did card it to one D&D session once and did a bunch of swatch pages, which was very useful. However, clunky. Oh, look, here, now you can see it. That is my 36 set that I got. That's a little time lapse of me attempting to do that. I'm succeeding, actually. Thank you very much. I ramble a lot. One of my other favorite creators, WhiskeyRabbit on TikTok, For some reason, I can listen to her talk for ages, and she can just be talking about the most random miscellaneous stuff that I've ever heard of, and I'm just sitting there like, yep, that's exactly what I want to listen to right now, is this random stuff that she's got going on. And it's always entertaining. And, you know, their art is incredibly cool as well. I kind of wish that I had an OC like theirs, because it's super easy to draw and aesthetically pleasing. You know, one day I will create an OC like that. But I haven't really adventured much into the OC side of things. I've just been drawing pretty girls for a pretty long time, which is pretty cool. Pretty. But yeah, I want to expand my ability out of just drawing, you know, symmetrically pleasing faces. My mum does a lot of things like weaving and stuff, which is completely out of my comfort zone. So I probably won't go into anything like that for a really long time, but I would at least like to get good at like backgrounds and drawing poses from memory. Sometimes I think that I really stunted my growth as an artist by deciding to draw less from references much earlier on, because I think I lost out on a lot of learning that I needed to do through doing reference studies and stuff by demanding from my brain that I produce it, which means that I really struggle at copying things line for line and getting proportions right from references because I did that. So if you're new and you're starting out and you're getting really, you know, angry that you can only use references, don't. You know, you'll know when the right time is to take a step away from using references and doing a bit more stuff from your creation, from your head. But until you can do that comfortably and not get stumped all the time, it's not ready, I think. I'm still not ready, and I tried to step away from it years ago. The first step that you can take is to try and incorporate parts of a drawing that aren't part of the reference, and then take it from there. We're doing a little slow-mo through. She looks pretty cool. I like her hair. I hate drawing hair. I don't understand how it fits on the skull, even though I have hair and everybody has hair and there's lots of tutorials and I've watched a bajillion ways to do it. I cannot wrap my head around it. I just got to do some real knuckle down and work it out kind of studying, I suppose. That's the good thing about being self-taught. I've never had any formal kind of artistic navigation. I've done college courses just like as electives. So I did like glass art in year 12 and something else that was more boring than glass art. I can't remember what it was, but it was pretty boring. I did photography as well, and when I was way younger, in primary school, I did some art classes after school with like charcoal and that sort of thing on really big pieces of paper, and I remember being pretty good at it. I wouldn't like class myself above everybody else, but one of those pieces is still hanging in the house, framed and everything, and it's of like a German Shepherd, which I'm still incredibly proud of. However, I will say that my mum helped me with the eye, and I have never let that go because I have some weird kind of obsession with everything needing to be done entirely by me, otherwise I can't claim credit for it. As of, you know, right now, instead of being like, oh yeah, I did this really cool thing when I was however old, I'm telling you that my mum did the eye, or at least a highlight in the eye, and robbed my sole credit from it. So I can never be happily tell people that I did something without clarifying that it wasn't entirely done by myself. I vaguely remember that I drew a leopard, and then one of the artist's helpers helped me do the lines in the nose, like, because it was growling, so it had like a wrinkled nose, or what, a bridge of the nose? I don't know what that's called on a cat. But yeah, I did not like that piece after that because they touched it. And it's not like I didn't say don't touch it, it's just because I hadn't worked out that I had such a strong inclination to need to have done everything by myself. But anyway, overall, I should probably get back onto track. I think I'm running out of time. That's crazy. I have talked about nothing for 20 minutes. I am so sorry. No, I'm not. I hope you guys are not. I'm not sorry. I'm excited that you are still listening to this. Maybe it'll just be me rewatching it, but that's fine. Oh yeah. Speaking of things that were really annoying, was trying to find royalty-free, copyright-free music that I didn't have to pay for, didn't have to make an account for, and then when I downloaded it, didn't have them watermarking over the top of it saying the company name. That took me 3 hours today. And I was so burnt out at the end that I had to go to the shops and just chill out and listen to some audiobook. Except as I went to go do that, I accidentally hit restart on the audiobook. So I didn't know where that was. And then I went to go put stuff in the car and I leant over and spilt water all over the car. All of that happened in, the space of, 30 seconds. And I was like, okay, we're going to take some deep breaths. And yeah, it worked out. I got a towel. I fixed the car up. I refilled my drink bottle. And a couple hours later, I refound my spot in the audiobook. I'm currently listening to Defiance of the Fall. I can't remember who the author is right now, but it's a lit RPG, and if you look those up together, you'll find it. Also, if you looked at the reference picture I put up for this, you'll see that I took quite some creative liberties with this hand and the branch. Well, not the hand itself, but specifically the branch. I was like, meh, that's not going to fit on the page. We're going to break that. I literally was like, we're going to break that, and snapped it in half. I tend to not want to do shadows in black because I think it's a bit boring. So I've used kind of a dark blue for all of the shadows in all of the drawings to try to create a bit of unity. But I really enjoyed all of the creative process of this, even though it took me over a week. And I hope that in a couple of months I look back at this video and go, a noob clearly made that. Well, that's the hope anyway, whether or not that is reality. I want to create content that's a little bit different than what most art YouTubers create. I kind of want to look into making videos about learning things as I learn them instead of teaching them. I want to sit down with you guys and go, man, I really don't know how to render clothes. Let's work it out together. So you can see the trials and errors of how exactly one does do that, because I have no idea. I think that is pretty much all for now. So thank you so much for coming and listening. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And if you have anything to add, feel free to put it in the comments.